Hello, everyone. It is Life Coach Miss Star, and welcome to Red Media Radio Station. Everyone, get your teas. It is Therapeutic Tea Tuesdays with me, and I am so honored to have this beautiful, virtuous woman of God today with me. And yeah, get your journals, get your tea. We about to have just a powerful conversation. And I call her my Shug, and I'll introduce her more. But Shug, can you please introduce yourself?
Hey, beautiful people. My name is Katrina, and I'm so glad to join tonight.
Yes, and Katrina is my sister, yeah. And I'm so excited to have my sister. And Shug, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good despite having a positive COVID test. Well, God is good, and we have to, despite some of those things that we might see that are not the best. We just have to think in this positive way. So God is good. I'm thankful because my sister and I, which we will talk about, during this time, we're just so close, and just talking to her is therapeutic to me. So I'm thankful that I had a very blessed day, and I was able to call my sister and we talked. And it's just nice to have this time, where we get to actually just talk about just our love that we have for one another. Like we're blood sisters. I can call her my sis seriously and mean it, but we're also sisters in Christ. So
Yes. Yes. And Shug, next time it will be a negative test. And my sister is a COVID survivor. So I am so blessed for that as well.
yes, and so is my sister. She's a COVID survivor too. So
Yes, God is so good. And my sister, yeah, she was there for me during the whole time. And I just appreciate you so much, Shug.
thank you, and I appreciate her too, because that's what we do. You're supposed to be there for one another, right? Like she knew I couldn't go out physically get my groceries and get other things that I needed to get, and she just offered to pick up my Target order. So just thankful for that because I needed my Target supplies.
Yes, Shug. So, everyone, the title of this episode is called Sisterly Love. So, we're going to talk about it, and my sister and I are going to talk about our relationship and where it is rooted from. So, what I want to get into first is a Bible verse that my sister and I really enjoy, and it is so sufficient for life. And it is First Corinthians 13:4. It says, "Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it is not boastful, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, and it is not eagerly angered. It keeps going." And I wanted to start off with this Bible verse because my sister and I utilize this in our life, in our relationships, and for others as well. So we'll start with where the root of it. Should let the audience know who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about your life.
So I'll just start with my age. I am 31 years old, and um, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a community lending officer, and also a certified financial counselor. And just having these connections, like with my faith, and then you mix that in with just my experiences with finances, which I'm hoping we can dabble into a little bit. This is just like something I like to talk about. That I guess with those certain titles, you could say that's who I am. Of course, there's a lot more than that, even saying I'm a believer. There's so much more than these little titles that we have, but that's just some background about me. I got my bachelor's degree in leadership, concentrating in business,
Woo
and
woo.
I am attending Yale University right now to get my postgraduate in sustainable finance and investment with ESG. So this is just some slight things about me, but yeah, I mean, I can honestly say for these things, I'm so grateful that my sister has had my back throughout this whole time, that I've just gone into these different roles, like going to school, first, getting married, throughout my time of pregnancy. My sister, is right there for me, and which was really actually hard for me in certain ways because of the pandemic. So I got we were fresh into COVID when I was 5 months pregnant. So that was, you can imagine how I felt about that. And Anne was just there. And, she just had just perfect things to say because she's a certified life coach. So there's just certain things that people can say a little bit better than others because they actually have the expertise, and she's certified. So she knows, certain terms of what to use and some things not even to say, so I'm thankful for all of that because that's her expertise, not, mine. I'm definitely no, I could talk about finances, but I'm definitely not a life coach or anything like her. So we we have our own, things and things that we're better at. So
Katrina, you could definitely be a financial coach because you are so good with finances. I just want to say that, yeah.
financial coach, yes, and actually I am a certified financial counselor, but it's not the same as a life coach. So
Yes,
just gotta throw that in there.
there's so many
Different.
specialties. Katrina, let the audience know where were you born and raised, your husband and your son's name.
So born and raised in Connecticut. Still living in Connecticut. My husband is Tyrone, and we have a son. His name is Lemuel, which we actually stole from the Bible and Proverbs 31 in the beginning. So that's, just a little background about us. We became homeowners. My husband and I bought our house in 2019, and I found out I was pregnant that year. That was a big year, actually, because I found out I was pregnant that year in 2019. I also was graduating, and then that's when I bought the house. So a lot of things happened that year, but God is so good. So that's a little other, skill.
Yes, awesome. And I absolutely love my nephew, Lemuel. My sister made me an auntie for the first time, yeah. So I am so excited. You want to talk about love? My heart expanded even more when Mr. Lemuel was born into this world. So thank you for just bringing my little Lem into the world.
Yeah, so you may hear him in the background. I don't know if you guys do, but
Yes, yes. He's happy that we're doing the interview.
yes, he supports me, guys, in his own way. You might hear some screams because he's my biggest cheerleader. So,
Yes, yes. So yeah, we're gonna get into just a little bit more about us and about sisterly love. So first and foremost, God loved us first, so that way we can love others. And I think one of the most important things is self love, because when you love yourself and you have so much appreciation for yourself, you can love others. Now, Katrina, when I say self love, what does that mean to you?
self love, when you look at it, I think from two different perspectives. Like looking at it from like a biblical perspective, we know that we're actually supposed to, there's a certain level of love for ourselves. Of course, the Bible actually talks about loving others, not necessarily self necessarily, but we have to have a Christ-like love for ourselves. Like if He created us and we are in His likeness, then we know that we are to love even ourselves, but not to be so in vain. I don't know how else to say it, but and then I look at it from just self-love for just doing other things, like my sister and I talked about earlier, which is self-love in terms of like care, like the care for you do for yourself, like just keeping, like as a woman, I'll just say it from this perspective, just like going to get a massage, going to get things done for yourself and not even feeling guilty about it, because you actually, because you love yourself enough to know that you're actually better in terms of other titles that you do, whether you're a wife, whether you're a mom, whether you're a sister, whether you're a worker, whether you're whatever, you actually do better when you actually care for yourself. So I think of that also when you take the time out to just actually do things for yourself. I consider that to also be self love. So
Yes, absolutely. And everyone, that is one of my specialties in life coaching, that I focus on self love because I love myself. And just as my sister was saying, it's when you take time to love on yourself so that way you can love others. Like they use that example, when you're on an airplane, what do they always say first? Put the oxygen mask on yourself so that way you can help others. And that is so important. When you love yourself, you can give that love to other people. And I specialize in that and give you tips where you can love yourself more, and so that way you can be the best person version of yourself each and every day and just continue to grow. And God wants that for you. um
Right.
should get
And guys, she's the best life coach. I'm not just saying that because she's my sister, but I am saying that out of like just everything that I know about her. If you are in need of a life coach, sorry to just brag about her for just a second. If you are in need of a life coach, please hit her up. She's a YouTube page, she's Instagram, she's Facebook, and we can go over her details a little bit later. But I just have to throw that out there with Miss Star at, I'm sorry, I don't know what exact, Miss Star Life Coach on YouTube.
life coach Miss Star.
Life Coach Miss Star, thank you. And I think it's MS Star
Yes.
with two R's. So,
Yes, thank you so much, Shug. And Shug, tell the audience a little bit of what you do for love on a daily basis for your husband and your son.
so I express my love, in a few different ways. Just getting my son ready, getting him dressed, making his breakfast. And I mean, I go all out, you guys, for food. I think of food as medicine. So
Yes,
for
yes.
for me, like, it's just not like a matter of just like doing whatever for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, I got to put care in it. So my son, I hand make his oatmeals. I usually do two flavors. I do a banana, carrot, oats, and cinnamon. And then his other oatmeal is apple, cauliflower, oats, and cinnamon. And I mix that up with some almond milk for him, and it's just, nice and fresh for him. And he usually has some fruit inside of it, like some blueberries. And he usually has that throughout the duration of the week. That's how I sneak my vegetables in his foods. So that's one of my ways of showing love. And the same thing, even today, like, it's a little weird, but I made apple kale pancakes. And actually, my husband and son both love them very much. You can't even taste the kale.
Okay,
And
wait a minute now, Shug. I love them too, y'all. My sister be making these meals that are homemade and so good, and I love those pancakes too.
I
And
forgot she had some.
and I don't know, ladies, if y'all picked that up, in men, how my sister sneaks the vegetables in for your son or infant or daughter. Definitely keep that in mind. But yes, should go on. I just wanted to add it in. Hey, I think they're delicious too.
Well, I appreciate that, sis. But yeah, so that's one of my ways of just showing love. Just to take the time to, because these things are time consuming, but just taking the time out to just do these things. That's one of my ways of love. Of course, I'm a homemaker. I forgot to throw that title in as well. So I do
Yes.
typically keep my house clean, and I mean, it's not like monk clean or anything, but it's still decent. Like, you come in my house, it's gonna look decent. You might see some dishes in the sink sometimes. I'm not gonna lie, I don't get to those every day like how I want to. But as far as like sweeping, mopping, putting my son's toys away after he's done playing with them, that house is, my house is decent. It's clean. I just try to take care of it and maintain it. And because I know my husband, he doesn't want to come home to see like a whole bunch of toys on the ground. He doesn't want to come home to this stale smelling home with diapers. Like, make sure you keep that stuff up. Like, I got a diaper pail. It's a scented trash bag. I'm trying to keep everything maintained and well for my mental well-being, but also, I want my husband to come home to something that looks nice. So, all
Yes.
those things, it's my expression of love, and I really take my time with everything I do. you know, Granted, time consuming is never the best way. Of course, you want to try to reduce certain things in time, but can't always do that. Things that you really care about, they do require some time and effort. So those are just a couple of ways, but I think a lot of people can identify with that. I don't know if you can, you know,
Absolutely.
like, even for my sister, there's some ways that she still has to apply now in terms, and that's how she expresses love. Like, she'll take the time out, and I probably should let her say this, but she just takes the time out to just call people to just really check on them. And like, even though it's time consuming, because sometimes people could just go on about themselves, and not even ask you how you're doing. I'm not gonna say no names, but anyway, some people do that, and she still will like call them and like thoroughly, take the time out, and it's really an expression of love, and I think that that is so important, and God just tells us, in his word, to be like that, to have that neighborly like type love, and for us to have that sisterly type love. So
Yes. And I think that is so important. Should you said you hit it right on the nail. Just taking some time out of your day instead of texting someone, just to call them and say, "Hey." So if I can encourage someone, just to call someone today that you haven't spoke to on the phone and just say, "Hey," if they're available, "How are you?" And just have a therapeutic conversation. It's really awesome. I talked to one of my friends yesterday for a couple hours, and it was just an awesome conversation and therapeutic, and it was much needed. My
awesome.
sister and I, guys, we grew up in a household together. We with our parents, and we first learned love from our parents. Our parents were just very affectionate, so we grew up hugging one another. We have a brother. Shout out to our brother, an awesome brother. So, my sister and I grew up a part of that. Also, my sister and I shared a room together. So I think that brought
Until
us.
we got our first apartment, yeah. Until we got our
Yes.
first apartment is when we actually, and that's when I, just to be on all honest and transparency, I was 21 when we moved out. So that was my 21 was the first age that I got my own room.
Yes. Other than that, my sister and I, we shared a room, and yeah, we gotta bring it back. We have bunk beds, okay?
Right.
My
Yeah.
sister was on the top, and I slept on the bottom bunk bed. But as my sister and I were talking about it, it brought us closer because we
Yeah.
would go to the room, and then she was in there, and we would start talking about things, and she was there, so we it just brought us closer. Yeah, we had a Nickelodeon phone. Boy, when my sister and I got our own phone line, that was
The
it for
number
us.
203-288-7617.
Yeah.
Don't call that, you guys. Don't call that. Somebody's number is probably that. But I'm just saying that was her number back in the day.
It sure was, but that I think that brought us closer. Shug, what if you can think of a couple of childhood memories? What were your favorite childhood memories of you and I? It could be anything from laughing to a learning experience, or to getting in trouble and then not getting in trouble.
Just to make people laugh, like one of the funniest times, like my sister was like seriously concerned with me when she found out I couldn't dance. And she was like, "Sit down, I want to talk to you." And I was like, "What?" So I heard that you couldn't dance. She was like, "Tragic, like tragic. You can't go to parties like that." Let me teach you these moves. And I'm like, "Okay." She's like, "Just listen, just take your time and just watch me, okay? This is how you dance." And like, it's like, okay, but she really cared. Like, she was just like, "I can't let my sister go out like that, being off rhythm or whatever." And I'm just like, all right. And then it wasn't enough for her. Like, my cousin Monique had to come over and was like, "Let me show you as well, because I can't have a cousin not dancing right." So it was just like, but they really were concerned. Like, it was like tragic to them. Like, like that was a funny time. And like, honestly, other times, like, my sister just always had my back. I had an issue with bullying when I was younger. I did get bullied a few times in my life, I have to admit. And when my sister found out, she just had my back. Like, she was like, "You want me to go down to that school? I will beat her up. I don't care if I'm older. I will beat her up." She got one more time. And, I was just like, this girl, she just, like, she's just so, but, that's that. But, even though, of course, we don't, now that we're older, we wouldn't, of course, handle things in that way. But, back then we were young,
Right.
naive, and, didn't have the Lord fully in us, so, but it just shows, like, these, I'm making y'all laugh, but, this is just, like, authentic. Like, she was always there for me, and, vice versa. Like, we were just always there for each other. Honestly, me and my sister, I probably can't count the times we've argued. Like, it hasn't been a lot in the 31 years, that I've been alive. And I'm so thankful for that, because who wants to be arguing all the time, with somebody that you care about? I hate arguing with people I care about.
Right.
It really bothers me.
I think if anything, it was mainly when we were younger and just, our minds weren't fully developed. And we just as I was telling one of my cousins, I said, but over the years, we just got like so close where now it's nothing. One of us will say anything. We just know each other so well.
We do. This is true.
I think for me, there was a couple childhood memories, and our mom expressed love. But yeah, one time, my sister and I don't know whose idea it was, but yeah, we decided we had like a sun porch and a roof, and I don't know, my sister and I both. And by the way, yeah,
That was me.
I'm the oldest, and my sister is the baby sister. That we have a brother who's even younger, who's the youngest. But we decided to go out on the roof, and I don't know if our parents were home. Yeah, I don't know. But our mother found us on the roof. And my sister and I should like laugh about it now, but yeah, it was
We were in
not.
trouble.
We
That
were
was
in
not
trouble.
pretty.
No, it wasn't. But as we're talking about love, our mom expressed so much love. Like, we got it. Like, after she said that, she's like, "You guys could have failed. I would never forgive myself." Our mother showed us so much love in that moment. She's like, "You guys could have hurt yourself. I'm just glad you're all right." And then yeah, we was on punishment. But then our mom showed us even more love, and our parents was like, "You know what? We're gonna get y'all off punishment even earlier." But just from that, my sister and I learned a lesson.
I tell you.
I think we definitely learned a lesson. I think another childhood memory that comes to us is just when my sister and I would just we used to go out when we were younger, just hanging out together and just having fun. For one of my sister's birthday parties, I surprised her, and I told her I was working and she didn't really want to go. And then when I got there, she was so surprised to like see me.
Oh, my 21st birthday, and they
Ye-
don't.
yes.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of moments, but it's nice because I got to see my sister from when she was like younger to me to doing her to throwing her bridal shower, to throwing her drive-by baby shower, to seeing her
COVID,
be
yeah, COVID.
seeing her be a mom. So we've had those special times. So that's what my sister and I were rooted on. But like I said, we have a wonderful family on all sides where we was brought up with just a lot of love, a lot of forgiveness, and ever since that we've just had sisterly love. And I would say and even yeah, when we moved out, yeah, so we were in a room together, then my sister and I got our apartment together.
It's true. And honestly, it makes me think about Romans 12:10. So
Okay.
Romans 12:10 says, love one another with a brotherly affection, outdo one another in showing honor. And just these, like, we're telling you these stories and some of our, experiences and stuff like that, but honestly, it's all biblical. Even before we knew it was biblical. And,
Yes.
even when the Bible is talking about brotherly love, yeah, this applies to women as well. So you can also put it in the perspective of sisterly love, but it is saying that we should outdo one another and to do it with honor. And this is what we show, in the times of tribulation, and the times of wellness, and the times of all these different emotions that we have gone throughout the years. We've done that, and like I say, I'm blessed because she's not just my blood sister, my biological sister, she's also my sister in Christ.
Yes, amen. My sister and I, we had a great time. Yeah, we got these shirts made. Shout out to my first lady, Cultivated Gifts LLC, Sisters in Christ T-shirts, and we went to see Miss Charlene at the Funny Bone. And my
Charlene is from YouTube, guys, just in case you don't know, she's on YouTube.
Oh, she's awesome. But we went to see her together, and my sister and I laughed the whole entire time.
She's hilarious. She really is. Like, if you guys want to get some laughter in, you you might want to check her YouTube page out.
Yes, we had a great sister time together and just spending that time. And yeah, when we had our own apartment, yo, we had it going on. My sister paid half the rent, I paid the other half. She would cook sometimes and I would cook sometimes. She would clean sometimes and we clean sometimes. And then at night we talk about our day, we watch a movie, we go out together, and we flourished until we moved apart from one another.
It was really beautiful, and even just dating. Like I remember my sister was like, "The one that you brought, I'm not feeling him. Nah, don't bring him back here." I was like, I put my sister's. I took her opinion just like I do now. I actually value her opinion more than of course, it holds more weight than other people in my life. So it's just like I was like. I think I'm gonna listen to her. I'm gonna cut him off. But it's just like all that stuff. It was really a blessing to be able to have our own apartment together. And just if you guys ever get that experience, I don't know, because a lot of people are just like, I don't know if I want the roommate thing, but to have it with my sister was really a really great experience. So.
Yes, it was. Oh, you gotta let the audience know. So when I said he wasn't the right one, was I right about it?
Girl, he was on Judge Judy. No, he wasn't right. He wasn't right. I won't say no names. I was like, whoa, this is a hot mess. Oh my gosh.
So yeah.
Dodge a bullet. Come on.
And even as my younger sister, I learned things from her because we have areas where we have like really great expertise, or we all had gifts, right? And one of my sister's gifts is definitely financial peace. She's worked at Connects before, and she definitely has that experience. For me, just learning financial advice and tips, and my sister is a homeowner, and as an older sis, I think it's important too, wherever you are in life too, you can also inspire each other and learn from each other no matter what age.
This is true. Because we even learn from our younger brother certain things too.
Yes.
Because as she said, we have different. God has given us different gifts, right? So we take our gifts. Usually, we specialize in them, and then we can bless others with what He's given us as a gift. So. Yes, finances, and don't get me wrong, guys. I could do better even in my financial life, even though I am certified financial counselor. There are just still some things where I'm trying to balance certain things out in terms of, making money, but still having this work-life balance that's conducive to my life. So you have to do that in a way where it makes sense for you and your family, because you can go out and make a whole bunch of money. Certainly you can, but is it right for your life? Is it going to, the balance? I think everybody can kind of familiarize yourself with that balance that I'm referring to, because it's really important that you have that, so that you feel better in life. Because I feel like, honestly, there's an emptiness, even if you're making six figures, there's an emptiness you're going to feel if you're constantly working. Like, let's say you're working like 60 plus hours to get that six-figure check, but you're not being there for your family. You're not having time for yourself. You're not having time to spend with the Lord. You're not having time for your spouse. You're not having time for your kids. It's really, is it worth it then? You know what I mean? So anyway, I just want to just touch on that for just a second, because even when I was steadfast in my certified financial counseling, which I haven't been since 2021, about 2020, when I stopped doing it, just because I was so focused on like my new job. But I couldn't stress that enough with some of my clients, that yes, the money is great, the money is good, but one of the things you can never get back is time.
Yes.
You can make money all the time, but you can't get your time back. You can't, because some people really actually regret it, that they made really good money, but they didn't have time to spend with themselves, time for themselves, time for their family, and it ended up being tragic. Like, I've talked to people that got divorces because of this stuff. I've talked to people that don't have good connections, like with their kids, because of that stuff. So I think that some of the financial counseling kind of even tied into some personal. I didn't want to get too personal, people, because I like to talk about the money more so, but it was just like, it got personal sometimes, because they're just like, yeah, but I'm doing really well financially, but everything else is like falling apart. And I was like, ooh, you can't have that, because the money ain't worth it.
Right. No, Katrina, you express really important. It's so important to have a balance. And if we can even call it a love balance, where you have time for yourself, time to spend with God, time to look over your finances, time mentally, emotionally, physically. That's all part of love. And it is so important. It's so important. Should let the audience know a little bit about your financial background, like where you worked, and also let them know what got your interest in finances in the first place.
Um, to be honest, I don't really know where that came from. I just think that at some point, it was just like, hey, I like budgeting. I like the thought of like when I was in high school, I was like, I like the thought of being like a budget analyst when I get my bachelor's degree, or being like an accountant or something. I knew that I was gonna eventually broaden into that, because I don't know, that's just where my head was starting to get to when I was in high school, believe it or not. But
Mm-hmm.
I've had so many different titles now in the last 3 years. I can't lie, I've had the title as personal banker. I had the title as a certified financial counselor and community liaison, and I've also had the title of community lending officer. All of my jobs, though, that I have done, and I didn't bounce around, guys. It wasn't like that. It's just, it just kind of happened like that in the last 3 years, that I had three different jobs because of just things that were happening with the pandemic, with me, and just whole bunch of other stuff. But
And that's
and I had
fine. You was
longevity.
upgrading.
Yeah, I was, and I also had longevity in my personal banking job. But I just switched that out in 2019 to the financial counseling job, and then later, a year down after that job, I decided to become a community lending officer. One of the things I have to say is, even with the financial piece of it, I've always loved to deal with community. And that's why being a community lending officer now meant so much to me. And a community lending officer is just another word, guys, just so you know. I'm a licensed mortgage loan officer, but I do home loans, residential loans for people that are Black, Indigenous people of color, low to moderate income, those type of things. It's called BIPIC and it's called LMI in that type of world. But yeah, I work with people, that normally have a harder time getting like a house and affordable housing, and I try to help them, to make those dreams a reality. And I love what I do, actually. I
Yes.
really do. And it's such a blessing to always be in this community space, like to tie finances into community, to tie it into my Christian values and my morals, because that's what I do.
And
So,
you do very well at it. So my sister's been how many years has it been, Shug, when you first started with Connects till now? Have you been in the financial industry?
I've been in the financial industry for the last 10 years, because I worked in banking for several years. I worked as a financial community liaison for a year, and I've also been a community lending officer, aka, mortgage loan officer for affordable housing for the last year and a half. So, yeah, it's been roughly about 10 years that I've been in this field, and I'm still continuing to go on, you guys, in this field, because I actually really love it. So,
Yes. I can't believe it's been a decade. Time goes so fast.
it does.
Katrina, for the audience, if you had to come up, and I know there are so many aspects of finances, from budgeting to credit score to investing to time management, but if you had to give three overall financial tips to the audience, what would those three tips be?
So I'm a realist. So just so before I even say what I'm gonna say, I'm a realist. So, and I like to do things in real time. So
Wonderful.
my tips now would be not, it wouldn't be the same as what I might have said like last year. We're in 2022. We're in the summertime. So I'm gonna give real life stuff for now. Now, I work in affordable housing, and I work for something called a community development financial institution, as AKA a CDFI. Um, I don't just do like residential home loans, guys. I also do like grants, and I deal with gosh, a lot of other compliance and portfolios and different things like that. But there's quite a few things I do underneath this title. But anyway, three tips that I would say in real time. One, if you're looking to buy a house, I would strongly suggest that you do your research. I don't think that anybody said it better than Maya Angelou. When you know better, you do better. This is really that
Yes.
applies to really everything, but especially buying a house. Like when you're doing things blindsidedly and you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna go along with whatever. Oh, I'm going along with the first realtor I see. No, no, no. I would first say to take yourself to a first time homebuyers class. Despite even how much information you may think you already know, there's still some other stuff that you don't know. And most first time homebuyer classes in Connecticut, anyway, they are free.
Yes.
So go ahead and check yourself in with that. And then I would also say to still do your own research, because it's going to be a lot of different things you're going to go through. You're going to see like, oh my gosh, interest rates seems to be higher now than they were 6 months ago. And the housing market still seems to be a little on the shaky side for, buyers looking, but it doesn't mean that you can't find something. So do your research, get yourself signed in with a first time homebuyer class. You should take it anyway, because if you're looking for down payment and closing cost assistance, which I'm hopeful that you will, if you are making less than 6 figures, you probably should look into that, like in your household anyway. If you're making, even if you're well, it depends. I'm not going to get into that because there's some logistics behind that, but if you are making less than like 125,000 in your household, a family of three, um, you should look into down payment and closing cost assistance, and you're going to need to have a first-time home buyer certificate to get it.
That's
So, and I
good.
deal with that too, guys. Down payment and closing cost assistance is my specialty at work, and I do try to get clients to get it. So, research one. Two, I would say this is a personal financial tip. Even when it's a little bit of money, I would definitely encourage you to start putting money aside for an emergency. I know it's difficult. I know it's been hard. A lot of people are like, I can't do the 3 months worth of savings. That's okay. And you know what? For Dave Ramsey and everybody else that's been telling you to do that, please don't start feeling bad if you can't, because it's hard and I get it. But I would encourage you to at least start off. If you can do more, great. But if you can't, that's okay. But start off with $5 each paycheck, because realistically you are going to run into an emergency at some time, and I don't know when that emergency is going to happen. You may not have a lot of money in it if you're starting off with just $5, but really put it away in an account that you can't see, because that was
Yes.
the best way that actually worked out for me. Like I was like, I literally have to like put this away in an account that I can't see. So if you do $5 per week, then that comes out to $260 per year, which is not a lot, but it's still something, guys. And I want people to
Yes.
do that so that you have a little bit of cash, aside. And you know, anyway, there's a lot to say about that, but I want everybody to start doing that. If you're not doing it now, please do the emergency saving. And then three, I have to encourage it because I'm a believer and I believe that Christ really does bless you. If you're not already tithing, I really encourage you to look into that, because and try to make it so that it's not even a matter of, I don't know if I can do it. It's a matter of, I need to do this. Because I will say this, I was skeptical, and this was actually before I got married. Me and my sister were living in an apartment together, and when they talked about tithing in church, I was always like squinching my face because I was like, "Ooh, my money though. I need that though. Me and my sister planning a vacation though." And I was like, "I don't know if I could do this." And I was like, you know what I'll do? I'll start doing 5% out of my paycheck. That equals 10%, right? In the year, in the month. But that's, as you know, that's not right. It's 10% of all of our first fruits. I was seriously blessed. I have been tithing for some years now, I have to say, and God has blessed me. Of course, if you look at it from like, when you look at your tax statements when they send you out the annual, and you're like, oh my gosh, I gave that much money, but it's 10% of what you made in the year. So of course, it looks a little hefty or whatever. You're like, I don't even got that in my savings account. Yeah, true. But I have to say, God truly does bless you. And you may not see it in the first year. I'm not gonna lie to you. You may not see it in the second year. You're like, oh my gosh, this has actually been detrimental to my finances. But God will actually make that work for you. He really will, because I wasn't sure at first if we were gonna be able to, I'll be honest, pay for our wedding and then buy a house the next year. But God worked that out for us. We were still tithing, and me and my husband still paid for our $10,000 wedding which is not a lot of money, yeah, actually, but we still paid that out of pocket.
Yes, y'all
$10,000
did.
wedding, and then we bought a house the next year. So that was nothing but God. We were tithing, we were faithful stewards. I have to encourage that too amongst other believers. It's hard, you guys, but it's still doable and it's manageable. And if you need to talk to somebody, I'm hopeful that, I could maybe talk to you about, budgeting in a way that it's conducive to your life, because usually a lot of people are able actually to afford it. We just don't want to do it.
Right. Oh, Shook, that's beautiful. You are so correct about it, and that is so important. Yeah, I pray y'all had your journals out because my sister just dropped some seeds for y'all.
I hope so.
Yes. And I wanted it to come for her because her one of her gifts that God blessed her with was finances. So thank you so much for that, Shug.
Of course. I pray that everybody, that could be really a hard topic actually. I've had people that cry quite a few times in front of me because finances has been such a difficult thing to talk about. So, it gets emotional sometimes, but just remember, God is faithful. He will get you out of your situation, no matter how much debt you're in. And I've seen some bad debt, you guys. I've seen $400,000 in student loan debt. I've seen some stuff. But God is faithful, and
Yes, he
He
is.
will get you out of it. If you're not where you want to be at financially, you may not be the millionaire that you're looking for, but He still will sustain you and get you to a place of comfortability if you pray fervently, if you also are serious and intentional about getting yourself out of the situation and not doing things that's going to harm you, like running up a credit card, let's be honest, you guys, or just like, oh, I think I'm going to pay this whenever, no. Try to really earnestly pay your bills and try to really get yourself to a better space, making better, wiser decisions. And you go to him, he is going to eventually get you out of that thing. It may not happen overnight. And me and my sister would tell you, this is the truth. It may
Yes.
not happen overnight, but he will help you to get you to a place where you are sustained. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Shug, for dropping those seeds. So we talked about our sisterly love, a little bit background about ourselves, finances. Yeah, when I think of diet, let's talk about a love diet. Diet, people think of the food you eat, but diet is everything that you take internally. It's what you watch, it's what you eat, it's what you listen to on a daily basis. So we're going to talk about a little bit about a love diet. And first and foremost, it is important to have peace in your life. And one of the most peaceful things for myself, and my sister and I do this together, is the power of prayer. It is when I'm going through things, when I don't understand things, when I want someone to talk to, I go into my prayer space and I pray. Yeah, I don't know about y'all, but Jesus is my best friend. He's my rock, and that's how I roll, y'all. That's how I roll. It is just it soothes you. And part of one of my diets, one of the most important things for me is prayer. My diet. Shug, tell the audience, what does prayer look like to you?
I'm very serious in my prayer life. But I think that in terms of like diet, so I think of that in a few different ways too. So yeah, I'm intentional in my prayer life. I could do a little bit better. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I need to have like a more established time in my prayer life. But I'm also intentional about just sitting in the presence of the Lord and letting Him talk to me, because like my sister just said, what we take in, right? I feel like I'm always consumed with things from my laptop, things off of my phone, and my email, other things that I'm hearing on a consistent basis. And I need to just sit down sometimes and turn all of that off and just hear from my Lord and Savior. So I'm
Yes.
just sitting there sometimes and I'm just basking in His presence and I'm just listening to the Holy Spirit. And that is actually the best food that you can eat. I'm spiritually eating at that time. I'm receiving a word from Him, and I'm just like literally just sitting there in silence in my prayer room, because I have one in my house, and just like I'm just basking in. I usually do that after praying though, and I usually do that after also reading the word.
Yes. And my sister prays alone, but should you have a wonderful mate? So my sister also prays with her husband.
Yes, we do pray together too as husband and wife. I do like to have my alone time too with the Lord, and it's just important for both of us to do that. But then we also come together, which we need to have a more established time for that. But we just randomly pick days where we just are reading the Word together, and we're also singing like songs of worship together.
Yes, that's good. That's another thing too. Just having time with God, worship music. Oh, for me, it puts me in a peaceful state. I was just telling my sister, yeah, this weekend I did a Bible plan on rest. So this weekend I decided to just really rest. And if I'm being honest, yeah, I do not get the required 7 to 8 hours of sleep at night. I just read an article, yeah, that talked about 9 hours. I was like, excuse me? Right. So I'm going to be honest, that's going to take some time for me because of my schedule. But I can say this, yeah, one of what I put in my diet this week was to drink a lot of water, and I took some time to just rest and relax, not be on the phone as much. Went into my prayer space, aka my war room, to just take some time to myself and just really relax, rejuvenate, and rest in the Lord. And I was telling my sister, I said I gotta do a self-love day where I'm going to get a massage and mani and pedi and float, and just making sure that I'm just taking care of myself so I can show up very well in the world.
Right.
Shug, what does rest look like for you?
You guys, I have a almost 2-year-old, so rest and me, we don't click too well. But so when you wait, I'm sorry. I have an almost 2-year-old. I work full time, and I have a husband, and then I'm a homemaker. Oh, rest don't really go too well for me. But you know what? I have to honestly say, now with some changes to my schedule recently, which has been, even though I decided, guys, to go down in my hours at work tremendously and kind of operate on a per diem schedule for a few different reasons, but we won't even just get into that. So that has changed my perspective on rest because I dropped some hours. Now I feel like I'll be able to get the rest I need because I don't have to necessarily set an alarm clock, worry about my son's childcare providers, and all this other stuff that I was doing, because it's really hard to do that as a wife and a mom.
Yes.
And just owning a home. I'll be honest with you guys, like, I need to go downstairs and change the bucket because I experienced a leak from my pipe in the basement, and no plumber wanted to come out while we had COVID. Ooh, hard stuff to deal with. But so
Right.
rest, and that's, I'm just being transparent. Like, this is the reality, right? So rest really wasn't the best for me. I'm not gonna lie. In these like past, I don't know, it was hard for me, even to try to get sleep in my third trimester of pregnancy. So I want to say, like, somewhere around there, just rest and me weren't really going too well. And then my sister would tell you I'm also a night owl, so that didn't help. Because some nights I could have really got some banging rest, but I was up, on my laptop doing work and stuff, guys. So, and then doing other stuff. Like, I was just like, I'm not tired. So, and then sometimes I call Am, and Am was up too. So,
So, just to let you know, my sister and I are night owls. Our grandmother was one too. Our family members, sometimes y'all will be texting at midnight. Not all the time, but we just some night owls over here. And then we could wake up in the morning and go to work too. Not saying it's good, but we...
No, it's not good. We actually are trying to discourage that, guys. We actually want everybody to get rest. Like my sister just said, they said 9 hours. I don't know if you guys can get that. I mean, that might is pushing it a little bit. But to really, really, though, really to try to get 7 hours, I think that's, even if it's partially with a nap, like, I think that's really important, because my sister just finished a Bible plan with rest. She'll tell you, how important that is to actually have that. Like, we need that, like, for us to, like, actually not have to run to, like, oh my gosh, I need a word, oh my gosh, I need my devotional, oh my gosh, even for me, I need my coffee. I don't want to have to run to those things. Well, of course I want to run to my Bible and my devotional, but I don't want it to be like, oh, because I'm so drained, because this stuff, that's not really healthy.
Right. Right. That's good stuff. And my sister and I are just being honest. We definitely want to encourage y'all to rest. That's why I said
Right.
if you're still kind of in that space, just taking a weekend. Oh my goodness. My favorite part was just not setting an alarm clock. Oh,
And before I got married, my sister and I actually would just the part of rest, just to talk about it. My sister and I actually would take annual vacations. And you
yes.
want to talk about rest? Like when we went to the Virgin Islands, the water was just so. I never seen such beautiful water before in my life, and I was just so restful. I mean, there were some stressful times in that vacation. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I had to go off on some people when they messed up my trip. But anyway, but it was restful for the most part. My sister would tell you, and it was just that in itself, if you can, guys, I know COVID's into play, and a few other things might be into play with finances and stuff, but trying to book a vacation to get your rest, like me and my husband were just talking about that. Like, we aren't going far. We're actually going to just stay in Connecticut for our anniversary and my birthday, because I got married on my birthday. But,
Beautiful
we're
August 2nd, yeah.
yes, I did. But yeah, we're gonna stay in Connecticut, but we're still planning our vacation. And like that stuff is so important because I was like, we need the rest, both of us. We need to just have this time where literally we're just in a space where we're not consumed with work, when we're not consumed with thinking about the house, when we're not consumed with thinking about all the other little things that we're thinking about. And I'm gonna be intentional about turning off the news in my phone, which I never done before. Yeah, I'm always looking at news, and it's so unrestful, it's so unpeaceful sometimes because they always are reporting the bad stuff, right? So I'm just looking at that throughout the day, and I really got to chill. But anyway, you know, so to say, I'm saying this all because this ties back into rest, and we gotta work on that. Other people that might be struggling like that with me, like work on that so that we can get good rest, and our mind can actually feel like woosah. You know what I mean? So
Right. That is so important. And like my sister said, even with finances or if you can't go far, just a staycation is awesome. Or where you reside, if you
yes.
want to stay in an Airbnb, there's affordable ones, yeah. That's a great option. Stay where you are, not set an alarm clock, and time to, I call it the R's, to reset, to rest, to rejuvenate, and relaxation. It is
Ooh,
so
I like that.
important.
Yes.
Yes, it
And even
is.
guys, looking at free events too.
Yes.
Because I've done that where we were just like, we just, it's sometimes rough. But we looked at free events, that we can do in our state. And there was like a whole bunch of things that popped up. And I was just so thankful that people actually take the time to actually show you, like, oh, you can do, there's a lot of things, but you can do this class for free, piece a night, they have what do you call it, sugar, the paint thing? You went to one of them, the paint and wine or something, paint and
Oh
something.
yes, paint nights. Where you can. I thought it was so therapeutic, and they give you whatever object that you want to paint. They come up with an idea, but it's very therapeutic.
Yes, my sister went to one of those. I know my brother did too. I'm the only one that didn't go to one of those yet, and I don't know why. Anyway,
So that
I
just
need
means
to
we
do
have
one
to
of
go
those.
out to one. That's what that means.
Yes, it does.
I think too, it's also important. This is simple, but it's very important. One of the things that I talked about in self love is just not what you eat, but protecting yourself and your peace. Peace is so important, and I want to say, not to let anyone anger you. It's better to just walk away. To better to be kind with your words, to be gentle, but also times when you're feeling a little bit more anxious, just, and I put this on my YouTube channel and my Instagram, just some tips, is to absolutely in that moment just breathe. Take your hand, place it over your heart, breathe in through your nose and breathe and exhale out your mouth, and literally breathe and do that 3 times. And I'm telling you,
Am
y'all,
actually shows that on her YouTube, guys. If you just want to see an example of that, not to just bring that up again, but she's actually showing you how to do that correctly because breathing techniques, they're very important. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Shug. It is so important. And I know it might seem simple, but something as simple as that, it really relieves you. So when you're starting to feel anxious or you're a little angry, just make sure you take that time to walk away, to reset, to be kind, and to make sure you breathe. And that all are pieces to protect your peace.
And I just want to add to that too. Any moms out there, like I
Yes.
had to walk away from my son as much as I love him. Sometimes the crying, if I'm just transparent, it was, bothering me. And I'm just like, I don't know why he's crying. He's, now it seems like he's just doing it for no reason. I had to walk away. I put him, in a safe place in his crib, and I just walked away. Just for 2 minutes. Made sure he was safe. I had a baby monitor on him, but I I just literally needed that moment to breathe and to just like take a moment not hearing his cries. And I went into another room and I just sat on the couch
Yes, that's
because
good,
it was
Shug.
just important. Yeah, and even like honestly, you have to be intentional about this too, where you're just like, I am not gonna let nobody, and I mean nobody, not even my own self, mess up my joy. That's my son, that's my husband, that's I love her, that's my sister, that's everybody, that has the ability to make me, have these negative emotions sometimes. Like, I can't let nobody do that to me, my boss, nobody. You got to just kind of remove yourself sometimes from those situations, and however you see fit to do that, as long as you ain't doing nothing crazy, but just to keep your sanity, keep your peace, keep your joy, and just take that moment to just breathe in, like my sister said, breathe out.
Yes.
And sometimes you do just need to get a devotion in there too. Like you need to maybe like hear from God, because that, for me, that's really like tranquil. I don't do yoga, I don't do none of that, but I sometimes will just pull out the Bible and literally just like, I might look up on my phone, like, can you show me some peaceful Bible verses so I can get my mind together? Because I'm obviously not in the best space.
Yes, and that is so important. Mentally preparing yourself, giving yourself some love. If you're in a toxic situation, removing yourself. You version great Bible app that has great
Mm-hmm.
plans and to get you mentally ready. I am so for a positive mindset, and a positive mindset is giving yourself affirmations every day. I am a child of God. I will be successful. Wake up in the morning to that and go to bed at that. Listening to water at night before you go to bed, a diffuser. Mentally, that is all good and showing you to loving yourself. that
Correct.
that is so important, Shug. Shug, what are some things that you do also for just mentally for love?
In my mental space. So, even though I don't really do it too often, I think it's good to pick up a hobby, guys, and
Yes,
just to kind of go through with the hobby. Like, I do like writing poetry, and I do it once in a blue. I'm not
I
gonna
do
lie, I don't really do
too.
it too often. Yeah, me and my sister both have that in common, where we could just literally just start writing, and these things are just flowing naturally to us. But poetry is really good. I think some other little stuff too. Like my sister got me an adult coloring book, and it's actually really nice because it's an adult coloring book that has biblical what do you call it, like things inside of the book. And I didn't realize, so I was like, first when she gave it to me, I was like, a coloring book? And and then I was like, I was like, oh, thank you. One of those like, okay. But when I actually opened it, took my time, I'm like, this is really nice, and it brings the inner child out in me.
Yes, yes.
I just need to give myself some crayons. But actually, so that's good. I haven't really been doing it as much, but it's that I have to like just throw in there. That's good for some people, and actually a low key thing for my mental space. Believe it or not, some of the inner child type like things, I like blowing bubbles. There's something about it. Like
Yes.
I thought I was just doing it for my son, but then I realized like I'm doing this actually. Like I literally started doing it even when he wasn't around. I was like, I'm doing this for me. I always loved blowing bubbles when I was younger, but apparently I still love it in my 30s, and I started blowing bubbles, and I was like, it was actually a mental thing for me. Like, it was calming me down And I'm like, what are these bubbles?
Yes.
Like while I'm blowing them, and I still, I do it. Actually, I do it often now because my son enjoys them. But I'm actually doing it for me and him.
That's
I'm
good,
just
Suge.
throwing that out there. Yeah.
Yes. Sugar, I want to thank you so much for joining me on my show, Therapeutic Tuesday, y'all. Thank you to my sister, Katrina Goins. Suge, and what's your email address, Suge? If someone wanted to reach out to you, where can they reach you at?
You can reach me at katrina.goins. So that's KATRINA, and it's .GOINS at comcast.net. If you are looking to reach out to me, if you just need to get like some financial advice, or even a prayer, I'm here. I want to be there for my other brothers and sisters in Christ.
Yes, absolutely. Thank y'all so much for joining me on another Therapeutic Tea Tuesday. My sister and I pray that this episode blessed you guys. I want to tell you, just encourage you. You can find me at Life Coach Miss Star. I am on all the major social media platforms: TikTok, YouTube, Facebook,
Please check her
Instagram.
out, guys.
YouTube. Thank you, Sugar. Feel free to just connect with me, watch my videos. I plant a lot of
Subscribe.
gems. Yes. So
Sorry, guys. We just gotta add these things in there. I don't want her to forget that, but seriously, subscribe to her page, like the videos, because they are very encouraging. They're so positive and they're so necessary. A little 3 minutes in your day to just watch that.
thank you so much, Sugar, for joining me. I appreciate you, sis. I love you.
I love you too.
And my sister and I want to end the radio show with this. God
God is
is
love,
love and
and you
you
are
are
love.
love.